up. Now I would like to introduce our presenter, Professor Applegate, Associate Professor of English and Digital Humanities at Molloy College. He specialized in critical theory, digital humanities, digital literacy, spatial humanities, and the political economy of media. He is the author of Guerrilla Theory, Political Concepts, Critical Digital Humanities, published by Northwestern University Press. Okay, the floor is yours, Dr. Applegate.
Great, thank you. So first of all, I just want to thank you for having me and allowing me to present on the new media program at Molloy. So I'm going to end up sharing my screen in a minute. I have a number of websites that I want to show you, but I just want to start by walking everyone through the different aspects of the new media degree at Molloy, and I guess just the three general areas that I'm going to talk about today. So at Molloy, new media focuses almost an equal split on critically analyzing the online content and platforms that we engage with every day. So short form video, memes, right, still images, moving images, GIFs on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, right? Like all of the kinds of online content that we make and that we see, and try to understand how it's situated in a much larger history of online content and online content creation. On the other hand, there is a focus on actually making those things. So learning the technologies and platforms that you would use, in a professional career to manage social media and to create social media, and all the content that you see. And then finally, I want to focus on where some of our students currently are at, in their careers and what they were able to do as a result of getting a degree in new media. So I'm going to share my screen and walk you through the degree and as well as some of the technology that we use. So right now, the new media major is a 48 credit major with some additional related requirements. We're in the process of editing this, so we're actually going to remove about 6 credits from the degree. So there's a lot of advantages to that, and we'll make it a little bit more competitive. But the new media degree is a Bachelor of Science degree, and there are areas of focus that correspond to, like I said, the critical analysis of online content, all the stuff that we see and interact with on the internet on a daily basis, as well as the production side. We also have a game studies minor in the degree, hopefully all building up to, a game studies track that is equal to the new media major. And the focus in the game studies minor is the same. There is a focus on the critical analysis of gaming industries and game production, sort of analog, I guess, like board game type of game making, and then up to digital game design and making those types of games as well. So the equal focus on critical analysis and productions skills is blended throughout these areas of focus. So new media as a area of study refers to both technology and online content. So in this short description you see on our website, this is the Molloy website that I'm showing you right now. We sort of define new media in those two ways, right? On the technologies that exist, like cameras and online content, sort of visualization, computers, tablets, smartphones, those types of things, but then also platforms, right? So all of the social media platforms that you use, like TikTok, Instagram. I don't know how many of you are using Facebook, but right, Facebook still counts, and, and various apps that you use on your phone. The short description that follows from that is just a list of careers that our students enter into, from social media production, front end web development type of stuff, visual communication, any type of emergent media, publishing, interactive media is where our students end up. The different areas of focus that students are able to choose from, I think makes our degree unique. So I'll show you the courses in a second, but the way the degree is organized, students are able to minor at the very least, if not double major. We have a lot of double majors in our degree, in math, business, even in other media. So making like television production, that type of stuff. And they're able to focus on those areas and bring it back into the degree. One of the other areas of focus we have is with computer science. So we have some students go on to pursue that. All students learn some basic coding languages in the degree, like HTML, CSS, which are really front-end web development languages. And we focus on Python, where in a class called Digital Apps, we have students make little Raspberry Pi computers, and they make they make games, sort of like, I guess if you're familiar with emulators, like game emulators, or like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 kind of stuff. They end up making a lot of game emulators on those computers using Python. We also teach students various platforms in the Adobe Creative Suite, both focused on still and moving images, so Lightroom, Photoshop, and Premiere, but we also focus on publishing platforms like InDesign as well. So this page, I think, is really informative and really descriptive of what the new media degree is at Molloy, and everything that you see here in terms of how new media is defined can also be applied to the game studies minor, but there it's just a different application, right? Game studies, think about all of the industries that exist with gaming, from esports to like YouTube or Twitch, right? Streaming. We teach all of those technologies, but we teach all of the online content production around those industries as well. So all of the things that you need to learn to create, manage, and produce good content for like a Twitch stream, for example. You could do all of that with the game studies minor. And so really the type of students that I think are really drawn to this degree are creative. They're willing to try new things and learn new technologies and really try to apply themselves when it comes to developing online content. I'll show you the types of courses that we teach, and then I want to show you some examples of student work so everyone can get a sense of what we do. The courses that we teach, like I said, are focused on situating new media within a critical history of online content that gets produced, as well as actually producing online content. So you'll see some introductory courses like Introduction to Digital Literacies and Introduction to New Media, where in these courses, students are really introduced to the technologies that that will prepare them for a career in online, content production, social media management, those types of things. And in those courses, not only do we introduce students to platforms like the Adobe Suite, in addition to, you see that in online content production a lot, cloud-based technologies, but also like physical technologies, so various cameras. So I have some examples here. We have these kits. They're sort of camera kits that we put together for students, and they can check them out. And in each one, they have different types of cameras, like vlogging cameras. This is DJI Osmo. It's on a little gimbal. It has like face tracking technology. And honestly, people run whole YouTube channels off of these little devices. But in these camera kits, we have everything that you would need to make these cameras functional, like SD cards, chargers. We have little tripods, to mount the cameras and everything like that. And we also introduce students to more sophisticated cameras, like here we have a little Sony vlogging camera with like a vlogging kit that we check out to students as well. And then we have even more expensive cameras that I don't have at my apartment with me right now. But we introduce students to those types of technologies, and we introduce students to the critical concepts and histories of these technologies in those introductory courses. So Introduction to New Media, Introduction to Digital Literacy, Online Content Production. This is where you're going to be get all of the sort of groundwork out of the way, and introduced to various Adobe platforms as well. And then that carries through in the degree, where We have courses that focus in on different aspects of new media, so composition or writing for the web, civic engagement for new media, so thinking about the social aspects of new media in a political context and a civic context and what that means. And then you see we have various game design courses, theme channel courses, and history courses. As you progress through the degree, the expectation is basically twofold. We hope that our students will, at the very least, minor, if not double minor or double major, and bring that skill set back into the degree. But then you're also going to move on to more sophisticated technologies and more sophisticated skill sets that correspond to some of the things that I've already showed you. So you'll move on to video storytelling courses. We have VR cameras and teach students how to operate VR cameras and edit VR. And then digital applications where students make little computers and learn how to code them and operationalize them, up through advanced online content where students start to manage their own social media channels and create all the content that you see for it. So like banners, thumbnails, avatars, the videos themselves, right? In those courses, you're really going to be working a lot with the Adobe suite, Premiere, Photoshop, Lightroom, to produce a lot of that content. And then everyone ultimately ends up in the same capstone together, creating projects and portfolios that act as a kind of digital resume when you go out into the world to get a job. You would have a portfolio full of your work that you've produced throughout the degree. And then we also require 2 internships that students have the option, obviously, to apply out and get competitive internships. And our students have gotten some really good competitive internships. And then we also have some internships on campus as well if students want to pursue that option. So these are some of the cameras that I was showing you. This is the little Sony camera that we've got here, and this is the DJI Osmo Pocket that I showed you a little earlier. This is what we check out to students and they use in our courses, or they use for personal projects, and then build on their skill set. The work that our students accomplish is often public and is often focused on their own areas of interest. So for example, this is our YouTube channel. So if you were to go to YouTube and type in Molloy New Media, what you would find is a list of channels that our students have made. These are sort of class projects. So some students will pursue these channels beyond the class. Some students, start to build their own channels outside of the class. And then we also have videos that correspond to our own projects. So you'll see like VR videos, and a lot of the videos that you would see right now correspond to a class that I didn't talk about, but that exists in our catalog called Global New Media. So every 2 years, as part of the degree, we try to organize a global trip where students get the opportunity to take a class. It's co-taught by about 3 new media faculty, and we go abroad and we have students create little short form documentaries, and they also code a map, which I'll show you in a second. So a lot of these videos that you see here are from our last trip to Rome. And we had about 20 students go on that trip, and they were divided up into groups where they created all of the content that you see here. They wrote the scripts for these videos, they shot the video, they edited the video, they created the VR experiences, and they created any other sort of still image content that you see. So a lot of the videos that you see here are focused on those types of trips. We've also gone to Ireland as part of this experience, and we were supposed to go back to Ireland this year, but obviously we weren't able to. So you can check out all of these videos on YouTube. We also have a number of students who we give them opportunities to create promotional material for us. So they try out different things where they've created little commercials. They did ASMR style videos. They did more VR experiences. They've done various like memes and challenges. And so we give our students, those opportunities as well to create, engaging content, but that's focused on promotional material for the college or for the department in particular. So I would encourage you all to, go to YouTube and check those out. like I said a few minutes ago, these videos also correspond to a mapping project, a coding project. So for our last trip to Italy, we had students code and build a map of their experience. So everything that you see, let's see if this will actually load. Oh, it's not fully loading. So you see the points, you just don't see the map. Oh, that's too bad. So all these points, if the map was loading correctly, you would see like a map of Rome behind this, and then all the points on the map exist where you have like still image content, video content, and descriptions that they were able to um, write. Unfortunately, I don't know. There's some kind of error with the map, so but yeah, they were able to code all of this, and they were able to place it all on a map by collecting like GPS coordinates and actually placing it on the map. And this is sort of a like a full expression of what it is that students learn in the degree, where they bring in like all of the skill set, all of the critical knowledge that they've learned, and even some coding knowledge to build out those projects. From here, I just want to focus a little bit on what some of our students are doing, and then go back and talk about the degree a little bit more. So our students often find jobs in social media management. So if you were to go to a website like Indeed, and type in keywords that are related to the degree, right, on Long Island, you would find like social media manager, online content producer, digital content producer, those types of careers in the area. You know, given that we're so close to New York City, there's a lot of opportunity in the area for these types of careers and these types of jobs. And depending on what students minor in, you know, they can also apply that skill set, and not only to the career, but also to, or sorry, not only to the degree, but to future careers, right? So if you were to think about a minor in marketing or a minor in computer science. We also have like a double major in math right now, right? So there's a lot of potential that careers you could look into, like, you know, the analytical side, like looking at analytics or further marketing opportunities in these areas. So these are the types of careers our students typically get, and they often stem from getting internships in the areas that we teach. So one of our graduates from just a couple years ago, Ronnie Amato, he was able to secure an internship with the Emmys. And it was a competitive internship, you know, right? He got it right after he graduated. Incredibly selective. And he focused on both new media and media. So he was focused on television production and online content production. So now he works as an editor, and he works primarily on reality TV. Right now, he's working on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which I think is not going to continue after this season. So he'll have to be an editor on something else. But he's also, I think, does like WWE uh, episodes as well. But he's really successful, lives in LA, and had a really great experience with the degree. One of our graduates just from this past spring, Aaron Battaglia, is currently doing social media and digital media for the Islanders right now. So again, another competitive paid internship right out of college that ideally will, you know, lead into a career, you know, with that company, with the Islanders right now. So she you know, has all the experience we talked about in terms of our courses, online content production, the Adobe suite, various cameras, and things like that, and got this job with the Islanders. And then we also have a student right now who's applying for a Fulbright in Australia to go study filmmaking. And he was studying in Ireland actually this past year and had to come home because of COVID. But I like to show his website because he has the complete skill set that we teach in our degree. So, for example, he made this website. Everything that you see on the website, he also made. So he coded the website, and then all of the content that you see, the videography, photography, and design, he made all of it. And it's a really good representation of, you know, what he was able to create and what he was able to produce overall holistically from the degree. And he uses this website not only as a kind of resume, but he also does a lot of freelance work with the type of content that you see, videography, photography. And I think he also links to his social channels on here. So, he's a very talented student and now trying to um, study abroad through the Fulbright system. So what I want to do just to kind of sum up is bring this back to the degree itself and focus really quickly on the faculty that are involved in the program and our areas of expertise. So right now there are 3 full-time faculty in the program. We don't have any courses taught by part-time faculty. So all the courses that we teach, we teach. I'm gonna have to update this page. I was recently promoted, so I need to actually update this. But I'm the chair of the department. I also direct the writing concentration at Molloy, and so I focus, quite a bit on this idea of composition and expanded concepts of composition, and to still and moving image in addition to writing. Sarah Evans is our game studies professor. She also teaches a lot of our upper division new media courses like the capstone and digital apps, but she teaches all the game studies courses, both the critical and design oriented courses. And then our newest faculty person is Max Renner, who focuses on history of media, civic engagement, digital literacy, and really sort of the more critical side of the new media degree. Critical meaning, how do we analyze and contextualize the content that we interact with every day? So, we teach all of the courses, we advise all of the students, and, try to, get students placed in competitive internships and, getting them into the right minors that correspond to their areas of interest, as soon as they get into the degree. So all of our contact information is on this page. So if you're able to just, Google New Media Molloy or Digital Humanities and New Media Molloy, you'll be able to find all of the contact information for us. You can always email us if you have questions about the degree. We also have a frequently asked questions section of the site. You also see this hashtag. So if you were to search hashtag Molloy New Media on Instagram, for example, you'd see a lot of the content that we publish as well as content that our students post on that platform. So there's a lot that's really accessible with our degree, and there's a lot of information you can find already online. And I would encourage everyone to explore it and to go look for it. And if you have questions, then definitely reach out. We try to engage with everyone in any venue that we can. So virtually, students can come to campus and take tours, and we talk to students through email and Zoom. So I think this is where I'll stop my presentation for the time being and see if there are any questions from anyone who might want to follow up on anything that I just said. Or if you want me to go back and look at any particular websites that I showed, I'm willing to do that as well. But I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen and ask if anyone has any questions about the degree or any questions for me that they would like me to address.
Yes, hi, Professor. I have a question about, you mentioned about the internship.
Mhm.
Can you tell me that I have a couple questions about internship. First one
Yes.
is what kind of company, and then the Molloy student they usually intern at.
Mhm.
What kind of which company or what kind of company? Also, does the Molloy make the arrangement or the student they have to find themselves?
Yeah, so both are good questions. So I'll start with the second question first. So we have an office on campus where students can go and they can get advice there for finding internships. We also we get contacted all the time as faculty from people who want to offer internships. And so we send those out. But you can also go to websites like Indeed, like I showed you, where you would search for a job. You can also find internships there. So there are a lot of resources that we have internally to the department, but also resources that the college has to get students to apply for those more competitive internships. And like I said, we also have internships on campus, which I think are good experiences for students. Maybe if students in our degree want to do their first internship related to our department, or maybe the dean's office, or maybe another office on campus doing some type of social media work, that would be fine. But we really try to push students to apply out and get competitive internships, because ultimately that's how you build a resume. The second aspect of the question is also a good one, where our students are typically getting internships at digital media marketing companies, or at small businesses that need social media management. So we've had students intern and apply for internships at news organizations, up through digital media and marketing organizations, to small businesses. So it's really about how and actually the student I showed you, Lucas, he was interning for a political campaign. So it's really just about the skill set that the student can develop, and how they can pitch that skill set to the company that is looking for some type of social media management or some type of online presence that the student can either manage or help them build. So the highest highest level, most competitive internships, like we saw with Ronnie, getting his internship with the Emmys, or Aaron now working with the Islanders, right? Those are the most competitive. And those internships they're typically looking for a lot of experience. And another way that students can get experience, not only at the college and through our degree, is we have a club on campus called Molloy Life Media, where it's run very similar to how a college newspaper would be run, except it's for creating online content. So short form video, still images, promotional materials, and students get a lot of experience through Molloy Life Media, and they have their own network where they can help students find internships as well.
Okay, thank you. I have another question about it. During your lecture, you mentioned about the internship after they graduate. Isn't that internship supposed to be happen maybe in the summer of the sophomore year?
So yeah, the internships that you would take credit for, yeah, definitely need to take place in the progress toward the degree. The most competitive internships, like I showed you, though, those are programs with, large corporations like the Islanders, or really competitive um, like entities like the Emmys, where they are meant toward, they're paid, and they sort of get recently graduated students situated in a career. And so there are thousands of people applying for those types of internships. They're called internships, but they're really sort of like career starting programs. And they're extremely competitive and extremely prestigious. And so the two internships that students need to take, yeah, they need to take those in progress toward their degree. Students usually begin taking those about their junior year. So maybe like fall semester or summer before their junior year, up through their senior year.
Okay, thank you. Professor, I have so many questions. Okay, another question would be, for this program, is any kind of license or certificate the student they must have before they graduate?
No, no.
Certify some programming or something?
No, they don't need to. Although, for example, when we teach students the Adobe suite, so Photoshop, InDesign, Premiere, Lightroom, Adobe itself offers certification in those individual platforms. So if a student wanted to pursue certification, to prove to an employer that they are an expert in that particular platform, they can do that. And we're actually in the process of working with the communications department at Molloy right now to sort of formalize that and look into what it might mean to start hosting those exams on our campus. But yeah, they don't have to leave with those certifications, right? Ideally, they will leave with a portfolio that demonstrates their entire skill set, like we saw with Lucas or Aaron or Ronnie, these former students. or if they're working through Molloy Life Media, they'll have a portfolio there as well. So there's no formal certification that they have to get. There are opportunities to get certification in these platforms and in the technologies if they decide to pursue it.
Thank you. I have my last question.
Mhm.
Would be for this kind of a major, do you recommend the student to continue with a master degree, or would that make them more competitive if they hold a master degree, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've recently talked to a couple of students about this. I think that with a master's degree in this type of field, it's not entirely necessary. If you're going to go into like television production or social media management or digital marketing, you don't need a master's degree in those fields. Now, there may be some benefits though to getting a master's degree. So let's say you progress through this degree and you figure out in late your junior year that you're also interested in business, or you're also interested in television production, and you're only able to minor in it in this degree. Then if you were able to pursue a master's degree in business, or a master's degree in journalism or communication, something like that, I think it would be beneficial to develop a skill set, but also to develop a network, right? If students are going to pursue a master's degree after a degree like this, I think the primary benefit would be having the ability to tap into Molloy's network for a potential job, as well as the institution where you would pursue that master's degree. Just expanding your net for pursuing a career, or having maybe being a little bit more advanced in the career. But honestly, for a lot of these types of positions, I think it's not necessary, and students can both develop their skill set and learn a lot on the job.
Thank you, Professor. But as a high school student, do you think they need to take like an AP computer science before they can major in new media?
No, I don't think it's necessary. We have students come in with all different skill sets and all different interests, and our introductory courses are really designed to get students acclimated to every aspect of the degree. So, if when we talk about like the coding side of the degree, it's basically like how to build and manage a website. That in and of itself doesn't require like years of like coding knowledge. It requires that you understand how databases work. It understands that you can read HTML and CSS. It doesn't really require that you're like a hardcore coder or something. At the same time, like all the Adobe platforms, we start at the beginning with each platform and walk students through a couple of different courses, and they get a lot of opportunity to refine those skills. So, I don't think those courses are necessary. Now, there's certainly a benefit if students do take those courses in high school and they come in with a little bit more advanced skill set, then I think they would definitely benefit from that. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's not a requirement to major in something like new media.
Okay, so what kind of quality that this program looking into for the high school student for the college application? What's the program they're looking for? What kind of student they think is better fit for this program or fit for this school community?
I think students that are creative are really drawn to this degree. Students who have an interest in any type of creative technology. So any sort of like digital, I don't want to say digital art, because we do have a digital art concentration in the art department at Molloy, but students that are interested in the social aspect of online content creation, whether that is like YouTube or TikTok or like, whatever social platform they're interested in. And then, who are willing to create in those platforms. But then students who are also willing to understand that there is a much larger skill set and a lot more opportunity to focus in on different forms of design or different creative projects that could transcend any individual platform. So I think students that are drawn to this degree and succeed in this degree are creative, they're curious, and they have some sort of interest in actually making stuff on the internet, if I could put it maybe in a really simple way, right? If they're really interested in making content and following online trends and understanding how communities online work and how to appeal to those communities, how to communicate with those communities, then I think, they would do really well in a new media degree.
Thank you. I have learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. So we have, in the chat, just, feel free to ask any questions. This is from Samantha. Feel free to ask questions in the chat or unmute if you have questions. So if you want me to go over anything that I presented, I'm happy to do that. If you just want to talk about stuff you see on the internet, that's fine too. We can talk about how it relates to a new media degree.
Hi, Professor. Do you have any suggestions for other suggestions, maybe for high school students?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I think I had trouble hearing you.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for high school kids? Maybe they want to take this major in the future.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if you're a high school student and you're thinking about potentially majoring in something like new media, I think, students in high school are probably also already drawn to maybe photography or art, or, thinking about business or thinking about working with cameras or, working with um, maybe even some coding languages. And so I would say my advice for students would be to start to understand um, how platforms work, right? So if we take a platform like TikTok as an example, I think what I would recommend to students is not only understand what trends are happening on those platforms, right? Because there's a new trend on TikTok every single day. There's like a new meme on TikTok every single day. So, you'd want to keep up with what people are creating on the platform and understanding the social aspect of it. But you're also going to need to understand all of the different ways in which you can produce content for it, or all of the different ways in which people create communities on those platforms, and understand also that what you see on the internet is not always organic, right? That there are individuals who pay a lot of money, there are businesses that pay a lot of money to people to build marketing campaigns that look organic or that look like it's just been created by someone in their house, right? When in fact there's been a whole team of people trying to create that content and to appeal to various audiences on the platform. So I would recommend that students who are maybe in those types of like art courses or computer science courses, or who are thinking about just what they see on the internet and they're excited by it, to you start to think about, okay, well, how is this content actually made, or where do these trends originate from? Or if I see something really sophisticated on that platform, think about, did someone make that part of the video somewhere else and then add it to, say, like a TikTok video? So if you see like a really complex introduction, or if you see a really complex like camera angle or really high quality video content, it's not only possible but likely that they were using a whole set of gear to make that video that doesn't even correspond to your phone, right? They're using cameras that are even more sophisticated than this to potentially build those types of videos, or to build the content that you're seeing. So I'd say just start to think more holistically about the online content that you're engaging with, and maybe think more critically about it and question, where did it come from, how did it get made, well, how did the community form, why does this particular content appeal to this type of community? And I think as a high school student, if you can just start to think in a little bit more depth about the online content that you are consuming every day, then it would prepare you really well for a degree in new media. Because not only do we discuss this in a lot of our classes, but we discuss how it's made and why it's made that way and how it can be recreated and different ways we can use Adobe platforms or cameras to recreate it and maybe improve upon it. So um, I would say, yeah, just, be curious and, pursue your curiosity when it comes to various forms of online content and platforms that you engage with.
Okay, I have another question. Is how do you think these majors difference with marketing or computer science or other is kind of program?
Mm-hmm. So this program, the way that it would differ from a business degree or a computer science degree, let's start with business. So this degree focuses quite a bit on cultures of new media. So when I say we talk about context and we talk about how it is that the technologies we use are situated within a much broader history of technologies, right? You wouldn't get that in a business degree. Nor would you get the opportunity to really understand, develop, and analyze the type of online cultures that exist on various platforms in a business degree. Nor would you necessarily get access to all of the technology, like all the cameras and all the projects that we do that are based on, producing online content. Now, in a business degree, maybe you would develop the concept for a social media campaign, and if you had the skill set, if you had access to the technology, you could start to realize some of that. Um, but given that we have all the technology available to students and we ask them to critically analyze and create content, you're getting the ability to really refine a skill set and participate in an online culture in a way that you wouldn't get with just like a straight up business degree. The way that it differs from a computer science degree is that the coding that we focus on um, is I guess you could say project specific. So when we teach students how to build a map, for example, and code a map, right? They're working with three languages. They're working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, in a computer science degree, you might learn JavaScript and you might use JavaScript to like create a calculator or to create an app. Um, for us, it's more about literacy and understanding what do I need to know, what do I need to understand to produce the project that I want. So it's about learning how to read the code. It's about learning what resources you can go to. There are a lot of like repositories on the internet that have a lot of free pre-built code that you can use and customize yourself and apply to whatever project you're working for or working toward. And so we teach students what those repositories are, how they work, how to read the code, and then how to customize it for their own purposes. So it's not so much that you're learning how to just like, do hardcore coding projects from the ground up. It's thinking more about what do I want to accomplish if I'm trying to build an app? What languages do I need to know how to read? What repositories do I need to know how to access? And how can I customize them so that they serve the purpose that I want them to serve, right? Because the focus for our students is not on becoming experts in a particular language. It's about building a really broad skill set to build the content that you engage with on the app, to potentially build the app from these repositories and from these various coding libraries that you can access on the internet, and then also learn how to disseminate that content, right? Share it in an effective way and hopefully get people to engage with it.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone has any other questions?
To apply the program, do you require or you suggest, recommend the student take an AP or SAT2 subject test?
No, that's not required. And honestly, given one of the effects of the pandemic, I think one of the really interesting effects of the pandemic is there's a lot of discussion right now about the necessity of the SAT at all. So, we don't require a subject area exam for the degree. And I think a lot of colleges and universities are now sort of questioning whether or not they're going to even make the SAT a requirement. So, for example, Molloy next year, it's not a requirement to apply, given all of the restrictions from COVID. And if that becomes permanent, which is I guess is a possibility, and it's a possibility at colleges and universities all over the country. You know, we're going to have to find new ways to sort of assess, you know, where students should be placed in terms of the courses they take and things like that. So, you know, right now our degree doesn't require a portfolio or anything like that. Really, you know, like I said, what it requires is interest and creativity, because, you know, we're confident as a faculty that we can equip students with the skill set that they will need to progress through the degree and be successful.
Professor, thank you so much. Such a great presentation. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.